It's about the journey, not the destination. Reality is better than imagination. When I feel free, free to be me. When I feel free, free to be me.
Welcome, everybody, to Travel Your Heart, a podcast where two gay grandpas explore life's travels together. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Travel Your Heart, a podcast from two gay grandpas. So how you doing, Grandpa Scott?
I'm doing great, Grandpa Bobby. And yourself?
I am doing really well.
Wonderful. So what is today's topic?
Well, actually, today's topic is based on a question that we got from a viewer. And I thought rather than just answering the question, it would be a really nice topic for a whole podcast. And that question was, how has 40 years of experience traveling changed you? And I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, maybe even changed our relationship.
Well, who knows? So I broke it down into a few categories so that, just trying to organize it.
Okay.
So the first category is, how has travel impacted your comfort level? Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, very much so. And
personally, for me, it has impacted me a lot because, don't know if you know it, but of the two of us, I am definitely the more introverted person. I'm a little more on the shy side. I don't really go up to strangers naturally. Now, Grandpa Scott, you throw him into a room of strangers and he's made friends within minutes. And that's not my normal personality. But when you're in a foreign country and you don't speak the language, you're forced to do it. You have to go up and greet people and ask for information and interact. And I have found after 40 years of traveling, I'm a lot more comfortable in doing that. And I brought that comfort level home. So although it's not in my nature, I have learned how to reach out and be more comfortable with people.
Yeah, that's one of the wonderful things that I have seen change in you over the years that we have traveled. I guess my opposite. I was perhaps too overt, too willing to just jump in with both feet into the deep end, which sometimes could get us into issues, as it were. So what you've been able to do is balance that out. And I think the two of us balancing it out together has made it really work for us.
Yeah.
My question?
Yeah. How has travel impacted your comfort level?
I'm looking at this thinking, I have to think, Grandpa, I'm slower. I think what kind of will be a catalyst for that is driving. Okay. And especially driving in a foreign country because, all of my driving experiences have been here in the United States. So the very first time that we decided to do that road trip in the United Kingdom, and, they drive on the left side of the road and they have traffic circles. That was somewhat intimidating for me. And I had to do a lot of research and really build up my comfort level. And
let alone the hedgerows.
The hedgerows. I don't know if I'm over the hedgerows yet. But I think that changed me, that willingness to try something new, not be afraid, do my research, increase my comfort level, and kind of step over that threshold into something new.
Well, for me also, I travel a lot on business, and sometimes I travel alone. And I've had to travel to China on business. And let me tell you, that can be pretty challenging. And what that's taught me is be a little more self-reliant, a little more adaptable, a little more flexible, and give yourself credit for being able to do those things alone, because that's definitely not in my nature.
I know I hated that time that you were gone that long. I just hated it. Well, that kind of leads me to the whole idea of, you mentioned China, is food. Okay, and trying new foods. And I think that traveling has helped me broaden my horizons beyond just meat and potatoes.
Oh God, he was a meat and potatoes guy when we met.
Well, and throw in some homemade biscuits, okay? Homemade biscuits, meat and potatoes. Excuse me, meat and potatoes. And traveling abroad and trying new foods and pointing at a menu and just saying, hey, what's the worst can happen? I don't like it, okay? I haven't found much that I haven't liked. So that's been one of the great things about traveling for me personally, is expanding my culinary threshold, if you will.
So another part of it is, what has 40 years of traveling taught you about planning? Or lack thereof?
Okay. Yeah, I got to think about this a little bit. Well, of the two of us, from day one when we met, I was the more spontaneous.
Some would say reckless.
No, okay. Grandpa Bobby, when I met him, had more 5-year plans than the Soviet Union.
It's true.
Oh my God, he had plans for everything. And as we got to know each other and our relationship developed, it was like every so often he'd be dropping this new 5-year plan on us. And I'm going, oh gosh, which kind of hit my spontaneity, because I'm just like, let's get in the car, let's go, let's have an adventure.
Oh God, that would drive me crazy at first. But I did learn my lesson, and that came when we were going to Yellowstone National Park. And I had booked us in for, I think, 7 nights at a campsite, just a campsite. And we got there, and it was about 3 days in. We had seen what we wanted to see. And Grandpa Scott said, you know what? Why don't we move on? And I was like, what do you mean? Well, we can't move on. We have reservations. And it took a while, but he had to convince me that sometimes don't be so locked in. Just because you have a reservation, you take the hit and you move on. And that's encouraged me to be a little more spontaneous. But it does come with a price, because one time when we were in France, we had a spontaneous couple of days, and we were driving through the Luberon, and we came to this beautiful little town called Gordes.
Beautiful.
And Grandpa Scott said, I want to stay there. And so we drove up to the hotel on top. And of course, it turned out to be a 5-star hotel. Grandpa has this innate ability to find 5-star accommodations wherever we go.
Yeah, well, let's talk about your innate ability to find the worst campsite. I want to back up to that Yellowstone story a little bit. The campsite, we were packed in like sardines. And in Yellowstone, where we were, that had pads for your tent, right? Well, our tent did not fit on the pad, because the pad that Grandpa Bobby had paid for was for like a solo tent, okay? So we're hanging over. It was not the most fun I've had camping. So that's one of the reasons we packed up.
So what's another reason, Grandpa?
Oh, well, it ties into that. Embrace your mistakes. And Grandpa did a lot of embracing after that. I'm just trying to think about here.
Remember that time?
Oh, Como.
Yeah.
All right.
How could you forget that?
Yes.
Speaking of driving in foreign countries.
Yeah. So we're driving around the Lake Como area, and somehow we get on this road, and it wasn't a freeway.
I don't know how we did it.
But we ended up on the road and ended up in Lucerne, Switzerland. Lovely little village. If you've been there, you know it's not a village. But we had a grand time, but it was just one of those mistakes, and we made lemonade out of it.
Yeah, we just had a good time. And sometimes you make a wrong turn, and you never know what's going to be around the corner.
Yeah. That's one of the best things that's happened out of 40 years in the relationship traveling.
Another thing that we've experienced is how to balance your expectations with reality. And boy, that hit home, honestly, even after 40 years, that hit home on our recent trip to Australia, planning that out. Well, we, like many people, didn't quite realize how big Australia is. It's an island.
It's a continent.
Yeah, it's a continent. And so originally I had us going, we'll go here and we'll go there, until we figured out it would have been 4 days to drive from one place to another. So you have to manage your expectations with reality. And what we found the best thing to do is we were honest with one another and said, what are your absolute must-dos that you want to do? And for me, it was snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. For Grandpa Scott, it was
Eating.
In addition, it's always eating. Going out to the outback.
Yeah.
So we had to really discover how we were going to connect the two over this giant continent of an island. So our expectations have been not compromised, but the reality has set in on many things. And that experience comes after years of traveling. You learn that you have to always think you're going to go back, and that you have to manage your expectations with what you can really achieve.
Yeah, and it's also about how in your relationship you communicate.
Yeah.
And I think travel has absolutely improved our communication with each other.
That's a great segue, because the last area we wanted to talk about was what has travel taught us about ourselves.
You know what's clever about that? Mm-hmm. That wasn't planned. I did not plan that.
Well, then you may speak about it.
Oh, okay. So what has travel taught us about ourselves? Well, biggest thing is we really enjoy being together and traveling together.
You wouldn't believe it sometimes from our conversations, but
we do, absolutely. What the traveling does for us, and it's given us this like bank of memories that we share, and like when what hits the fan in our daily lives back here in the States, or when things get a little rough with medical issues and all that, we kind of draw upon that bank of memories and kind of reminisce about what fun we had, how we experienced something, and it does help us get through some of the rough times.
Yeah, and especially what we learned from that experience, be it a good one or a bad one. And you got to face it, when we're traveling, we're alone together 24/7. Many couples, that doesn't work, but for us, it does work. So you have to go with whatever your relationship dictates.
Yeah, a key thing here is that traveling together so closely, it can point out flaws and vulnerabilities in your relationship, as well as the good stuff. And I think a relationship grows stronger when you deal honestly with those vulnerabilities and foibles when they come up in your relationship.
It points out how important communication is, and how you have to have honest dialogue with one another. And, traveling, being alone together, when we're the only people that we'll be interacting with, you really have to be honest in your communication, what you're feeling, because if you let things build up, it's going to explode and be very messy.
Yeah.
I've also found that over the years, what travel has really imparted to me is it allows you the chance to just step back from your daily life, and it gives you the opportunity to reevaluate. Many times when we're just going about our day-to-day 9 to 5, you get in a rut, and it's hard to see the forest for the trees. So sometimes when you're traveling, you can step back and say, is this really what I want to go back to? Which can be dangerous if you don't have a plan B. But you start to think, what's of value? Grandpa Scott talked about me and my 5-year plans. And one of my plans was I have to have a house by the time I'm this age. And sometimes you get trapped in those dreams and plans and aspirations if they're a little too far reaching for the place you are in your life. So sometimes taking a step back in your travel adventures and just thinking about that really helps to illuminate. And that has really helped me change over the time.
I swear, folks, I think Grandpa Bobby came out of the womb with a list of 5-year plans. I really do.
So what else has it taught you about us?
Well, that we like to meet people.
Mm.
That's really one of the joys of traveling for me. After the food,
Yeah.
meeting new people, and an example would be something that I may not have done here in the States, and that's like walking up to a stranger to get help. Um, Sometimes you hear, well, in countries, the locals don't like people walking up and talking to them. I just decided we needed help. We weren't understanding what was going on. So I walked to this gentleman, and this was in the Madrid airport. Oh, no, Madrid
Train station.
train station. And he was in the military, the Spanish military. And, in some very broken Spanish, I asked him first if he spoke English. And he smiled and said yes. And we just kind of introduced each other. And I said, kind of lost, can you help us? And which he did. And at the end, I said, I'm just amazed at your English. It's just flawless. And he said, well, Spain is a member of NATO, and in NATO, English is the language. We have to use and learn English. And two things came out of that for me. And one of them was I became aware of how much the culture of my country, the USA, is imprinted or been laid upon other
Pervasive.
countries. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was kind of an eye opener for me, which is another benefit of travel. It opens your eyes
Yeah.
and opens your minds. But just going up to someone and speaking to them, have we run into anybody that wasn't responsive? Well, so far not.
No, either that or they do it behind our backs.
Yeah.
And for me, over time, we're talking 40 something years of traveling. It has taught us too that you have to learn your limits.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started traveling, gosh, we were doing 10,000 things in one day, running up in here. And we've learned that over time, we have to pace ourselves. In fact, on our recent trip to Lisbon, we came up with a motto, drive up, walk down, because Lisbon is a city of hills. And if you try to walk up all of them, you're going to be exhausted by the time the day is over. So we learned those limits. Not to do too many things in one day. And that is applied to our normal life here. How not to, expend your energy wisely. And also sometimes for us, we've taken a vacation from vacation, especially now that we're content creators. We have found that filming and going around and trying to go to different places can get exhausting, especially editing while you're on the road. So we have learned the benefit of taking a break, just sitting in a cafe with a cappuccino, enjoying the view and stopping to smell the roses.
It doesn't have to be a cappuccino. It can be a beer or a glass of wine.
It often is.
And, there just has to be some little finger foodies on
of course.
the table. But it is wonderful. I think we both love just watching and observing people and seeing how everybody lives.
Yeah. Not
in
paying
their
attention
city.
to the monuments as to the context. And to the overall environment. So, we have found that travel has just enriched our lives. And, we hope by making our videos and speaking in our podcast that encourages people to reach out. And it doesn't have to be around the globe. It can just be locally. But travel really enriches your life.
Absolutely. Go out and do it if you can. Now, we know that there are health issues and economic issues for a lot of people. So that's why we're saying if money's tight, see what you can do for the free in your area.
Mm-hmm.
There are some beautiful local parks, local sites, and get out there and experience them.
Yep.
Experience them.
Experiencing
I got to
them.
work on that. Did we talk about
I
communication?
don't think after 40 years your tongue has improved.
It hasn't improved at all, folks. Not at all.
Well, folks, we just wanted to thank you all for listening to us and following along. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would really appreciate it if you do that. Two Gay Grandpas Travel.
And even more importantly, if listening here on our podcast, subscribe to our podcast.
Make sure you do wherever you get your podcasts. We'd appreciate
You can find us on Spotify and many others.
That's right. And we always want to remind you that whether you're traveling around the world or traveling through life, always remember, travel your heart. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.